Hi guys, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko Restorations with another video on one of my fully restored pachinko machines. This is a 1975 Nishijin Model B. The playground is called Jelly Beans, and oddly enough, the center attraction says American football on it, which is a little odd for something that was in Japan. You can actually see a little NFL symbol back in there. I find it kind of interesting that American football was, I suppose it's very popular in Japan. I guess that's why they did it. Did a lot of restoration work on this one. It was in kind of rough shape. Most of the color here was gone. This was all been hand painted. These were all colored back in, new labels on the tulips and so on and so forth. This is a brand new play field with all of my restorations. I replaced the artwork. The artwork on this one was very faded and very water damaged, so that all got replaced. Everything on the machines gets torn off. The plastic gets all cleaned to get rid of all of the smoke residue and body oil. The metal all gets the rust taken off of it. The chrome gets polished. The brass gets tumbled in a rock tumbler to bring it all back to shininess. All of the wood on the machine gets dealt with. I sand the wood and polyurethane every bit of wood that's on these machines, including these frames. These frames are actually beautiful red mahogany, and when they were mass produced, these boards were very rough cut very quickly. They didn't finish them off. They didn't sand them at all. And then, of course, over 40 years of just collecting dirt and grime, they get kind of bad looking. So I take the frames apart, get rid of all of the rust on the metal pieces, and then plane these boards down, sand them, and put a couple of coats of polyurethane on them, and it brings back the really pretty grain of the red mahogany. Do the same thing with this board on the back side. This gets all cleaned and sanded down and polyurethaned so that these don't absorb moisture anymore. So once they're all cleaned up, these machines now are no longer put into an abusive setting like a pachinko parlor, so they aren't going to have a lot of cigarette smoke residue and so on and so forth. So once they're clean, they'll stay clean. They'll stay working for many, many years to come. I do guarantee my work, lifetime guarantee, that being my lifetime. But as long as I'm around, I'm only a phone call away. So all cleaned up. This one, the electric on it was in rough shape, so I put a new circuit board of my own making on it, rewired everything. This has two lights over here for the jackpot and one light here for the ball out. And with all of my restorations, I use a 12-volt plug-in power supply. So let me plug this in. The ball out light now is lit. It comes off of this switch here. So when we fill it full of balls, it'll turn that light off. Two things that you have to be aware of when you get ready to set your machine up for play. One is you need to lock the ball dump. This mechanism here is called the ball dump. And what I've done lately, and I don't know why I didn't do this a long time ago, I've been using a magic marker and marking this end of the metal piece with red, and then a little arrow here. And this arrow points this way, so what it means is you're going to push that way so that the two red pieces interlock. And what that does is when the balls fill this tray, they come down here, they go into the turnaround, and they go right through this area. Now there's a gap in this area, and this little metal plate right in here bridges the gap so that these two white arms create a path for the balls to travel over and continue into the jackpot chamber. When this is released, it lets the white arms swing down like this so that the balls will come around and then they would drop down this chute and exit out of the machine. It's a maintenance thing to clear the balls out of the machine. So under normal circumstances, your pachinko machine is going to stay full of balls. You don't have to worry about emptying it unless you're going to move it. So when you get the machine, this should be locked, but just in case during shipping it's not, you're just going to press that over and make sure that that's locked, and again, so that the balls will continue. There's one more thing I'll show you in just a second. if you have purchased pachinko balls, which you will have to do, I don't have enough extras to include them with the machines. My recommendation is between 300 and 500 pachinko balls, although these machines will handle almost 1,000 pachinko balls, but 300 to 500 is plenty. So you're going to place them in the upper hopper. And you want to put 95% of the balls that you own right in the upper hopper. Fill it right up. The weight pushes down on this, which releases off of this switch so that the light is now off. It says, okay, I've got plenty of pachinko balls to work. It also now activates this, which allows balls into the machine. When it reverses, it stops the balls from going inside the machine. So the other thing you need to deal with is the seesaw. This is called the seesaw chamber right here. And on this particular machine, the seesaw is that white piece of plastic that's in there. And it sits in there on an angle so that the right end is up and the left end is down like this. And that's the correct position to begin play. You don't want it in this position. So if it were in this position, again, because of things shifting during shipping, again, I've put an arrow here pointing up, and there's a rod right next to the arrow, and you're just going to push up on that rod. And what it does is if the seesaw is this way, it'll just lift it up like this. So very quickly, the machine's loaded with balls up to the jackpot, and they're just waiting. When a winning ball comes into the machine, doesn't matter where it comes in, they all end up coming down a ramp right in here. They hit the end of that seesaw, so a ball will sit right on the end of the seesaw. The weight tips the seesaw down and the ball continues. The ball continues out and goes down this chute right here and will exit out of the machine. As it does, it pushes down on this arm here, and this arm is connected up to the jackpot. So when this arm goes down, it'll release the prize of 14 balls that go out the front of the machine, and then the whole machine will reset. So you do need some sort of a catch box. Again, I've got a few of these, but not enough to include them with the machines. But all you need is something this general size, and you're going to just place it right here. The losing balls will drop out of the machine down this chute, and a winning ball will drop out of this chute. So you do need something to catch the balls. Okay. So we'll get this turned around. I'll show you the front and show you the machine in action. So now you're going to push some balls there, and again put the catch box back here to catch the balls. Now under normal circumstances, the first time you go to launch a ball, nothing happens. It takes a cycle to get a ball onto the launch ramp. There were already a couple of balls in there. So this will launch a ball the first time, but when you're setting your machine up, if it doesn't launch a ball the first time, don't worry about it. It'll launch a ball the second time. So here we go. So that's the machine in action. Two lights over here light up when you do get a jackpot. The prize comes out here. If this overflows, you can just let the balls drop down here. Eventually, a light will come on here like that, and that will let you know, and it'll stay on, and that lets you know that you're starting to run low on balls in your hopper. You simply just take the balls from here. If you've got it freestanding, you can just go right up over the top and drop them into the hopper on the back side. Pretty easy, pretty simple to do. This particular model, and I'm going to cheat it here, has 4 tulips, and when you get it into the center attraction, this is kind of neat. If you put it in up here, this turns and it will drop down, and it drops down in here, and it'll bounce back and forth. There's actually a couple of players' benches on either side. It's a little hard to see in the video, but it'll bounce back and forth and then drop. And when it drops, it will open the tulips. So I'll just, again, I'll cheat and I'll show you. So it dropped on this side and opened this tulip. Let me see if I can get it to drop on the other side here. Drop on the other side and open that tulip, and I believe there's a center. Yeah, there is. There. So if you drop it down the center, it opens these. Actually, it opens all 4 tulips. Now, once the tulips are open, then it becomes much easier to play and win. The open tulips are a much bigger target. And the nice thing about pachinko is anybody can play. All you have to do is press down, let go, and you're playing pachinko. If you go all the way down and let go, it tends to launch way over onto this side of the machine. If you don't go quite as far, you can get it to stay on the left side of the machine. So there's really not any skill involved, but there is a little bit of technique involved in trying to win when you play pachinko. So that's the machine. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. If you have Facebook, just do a search on Magic Pachinko Restorations. You'll find my Facebook page, all my contact information, and a lot of articles on the machines that I've done, a lot of reviews on my customers, and so on and so forth. So thank you very much for watching.